I'm actually amazed that he could come out and have such fond opinions about this division rival quarterback that he got after in his time. But that's a take. Ben Roethlisberger, underrated quarterback. Isaiah, do you have a different opinion on who the most underrated quarterback of all time is?
I do. And T. Suggs, respects to you. You're a heck of a player. I'm going to go with somebody that you actually mentioned, and it's actually my former teammate. It was my quarterback when we won the Super Bowl, and that is Eli Manning. Eli Manning is the most underrated, undervalued, two-time undefeated Super Bowl champion quarterback that there has been. This dude hasn't lost in the Super Bowl. He beat Tom Brady twice, right? Not just once, but twice in the biggest game that we have in our sport, and he never gets the credit. Roethlisberger, you think about Pittsburgh, you think about Roethlisberger. You think about you think about the Patriots, you think about obviously Tom Brady. You think about all these teams, you think about the quarterback. When it comes to the Giants and the Super Bowl runs, they always talk about the defense, right? The defense won the games. They won these. They did it for him. Nah, Eli Manning, he needs some respect on it, and when it comes around to the Hall of Fame, don't play with him.
I love it. But I'll say this. Yesterday, we talked about, was Kyle Allen the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
Josh Allen.
Or excuse me.
Yes.
We love Kyle Allen.
He could be. We love Kyle Allen. Yeah.
I love Kyle Allen,
Don't sleep on Kyle Allen. Matter of fact. But Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen the best quarterback in the NFL? Kyle was like, you know what? He is. And we were making the ring argument. So rings obviously don't matter on this show. So I'm going Phil Dadgummit Rivers.
Nice.
Phil Rivers, great teammate, unbelievable player, played a number of years, had almost as many kids as he played years. And I just feel like Phil is a guy that when you talk about, great quarterbacks that have played in this league, people don't really bring up Phil like I want to hear his name. And I can't say it enough how great of a teammate he was. Phil Dadgummit.
Dadgummit could have been your one word for Jerry Jones, too. That was a multiple applicable.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Kyle, what you got?
No doubt. And that's a great answer, and I've always loved Phil, one of the most watchable players ever. I don't agree with T. Suggs. I don't think it's Roethlisberger because I have so much respect for Roethlisberger. He does not underrated for me. I think he's amazing. I look at him as amazing. I think a lot of people do too. But then my answer, most underrated quarterback, is Drew Bledsoe for so many reasons. This is a guy who was a #1 overall pick, who goes to the Super Bowl. He wins the AFC. He's killing it in New England. He goes on later. He's cool. He's kind of a good attitude. His name is cool. He shows up in Jerry Maguire, which was really cool. He played really well later in his career with the Cowboys and Buffalo. But the problem with why he's underrated is, you can't have a legacy conversation about Drew Bledsoe for 1 second without talking about Tom bleeping Brady all the time. That follows him around. Aside from Tom Brady, I get it. I know what happened, and Mo Lewis and blah, blah, blah. This guy was great before Tom Brady, after Tom Brady. It's a guy that when you were young, getting his jersey was really cool. His arm was incredible. The fact that he came from the Northwest was awesome. The fact now that he just sits around selling and ostensibly drinking wine all day, it's just I want to be Drew Bledsoe in my next life. I know kids want to grow up and be Tom Brady. I want to be Drew Bledsoe, my most underrated quarterback ever.
That's an awesome answer. I'm sitting here, and I actually just said one name, and I want to tee it up to the table and to you, Kyle. If he had played long enough, and maybe if he had had a prolific career but didn't win the way that you're kind of making the Phillip Rivers parallel, would you qualify maybe Andrew Luck as an underrated quarterback and maybe the lost potential that we didn't get to see from him? Would he be a part of that conversation, Kyle?
I think Andrew Luck is in that club of guys who just man, they left already. He's not the stature of Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson, but his legacy is incomplete. It's there's no letter grade on his career. It's an I for incomplete, and tough as hell, super talented, one of the greatest prospects ever, but I don't look at him as underrated. I look at it as incomplete. It's kind of annoying.
Before I ask this question about Harbaugh, Kyle, you've interacted with Coach Harbaugh. It feels like, and Rich Eisen just totally fulfilled this for me, this theory that I have. It feels like Harbaugh says some stuff sometimes, but he's so engaging and you so want to keep drawing things out of him that you will pretty much agree with anything he says, no matter how outlandish it is. So when he says, sometimes the best ideas come at 3 a.m., you know what I mean? Rich Eisen's not awake at 3 a.m. I'm fairly certain. He's like, yeah, absolutely. It's Rich, do you actually agree with that? I really don't think so. And so, but Kyle, you've interviewed him. Did you feel yourself being like, yes, Coach, I absolutely understand that. That is what I feel like goes on in conversations with Coach Harbaugh.
Yeah, when he gives the answers to whatever your questions are, you're just happy that you kind of even understand and you're on the same planet as him. So if there's anything that makes sense, you're like, yes, I'll take this. This is a win because he can say some things that you don't understand at all. So 3 a.m. to me, that's fine.
3 a.m., he wants to send Herbert to the Hall of Fame. That is the definition of a personal hype man. Here's the question. Coach Harbaugh has been enamored with Justin Herbert since the second he got to shake his quarterback's hand. The player that you think needs a personal hype man for next season is the following, Isaiah.
I would love to be the representative and the Paul Heyman for this gentleman right here. He resides in Cincinnati. His name is Trey Hendrickson. And the reason why I believe that Trey Hendrickson needs a hype man is because he is not hyping himself up. Is that spelled wrong? I forgot. It's my fault. He's not hyping himself up right now. And he needs somebody to speak on his behalf. This dude has he's the third highest sack leader out of anybody in the league over the last 5 years. 80 games, Myles Garrett had 72 sacks, and Hendrickson had 70.5 sacks. He's 1.5 sacks behind Myles Garrett, and we know how much Myles Garrett just got paid, and Trey Hendrickson can't find nobody to give him a check right now. Go ahead and pay the man. I will be your Paul Heyman.
Wow, that was good. I'm convinced by that. That was good. Here's my guy, and this guy matters to me. That is Robert Spillane, just signed with the Patriots. This guy is a dog. I'm going to read you something. 306 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, and 5 interceptions over the last 2 years. This guy is unbelievable. Also, this is again, a stat that doesn't matter for this, but this guy's got 2 under 1. He's built different just as a dad. This guy comes in with a different mentality, dad strength. I also once saw this guy wear the same jeans to the facility 3 days in a row. Oh. That's what I want my linebacker to do. So I'm all in on Robert Spillane, and I love him with this new Patriots mentality and everything that's going to happen in the next couple years. This is going to be good.
Nice.
He doesn't have elite genetics, but he has incredible genes at the same time. And I like that about Robert Spillane.
Good.
If you want to see a crazy Robert Spillane play, go to YouTube and find him when he was on Pittsburgh stuffing Derrick Henry at the goal line, one-on-one. It's an amazing, amazing play that put him on the map for me. But the question, a personal hype man, I'm really, really struggling with this. And I thought, and I just couldn't come up with an answer. I don't know who I would possibly hype. I'm not even sure. Oh, no, not Cam Scatterboo. Oh, no, you mean the guy who lives and works 5 miles down the road from me here in New York and is now playing in Jersey? Guys, I want to make this very clear to everyone listening, to everyone on the show, to Cam himself. He gets drafted in my backyard. If Cam Scatterboo had been drafted by the Dolphins, I was moving to Miami, all right? I will follow him anywhere. If he had to go overseas, I'm going overseas. If he was a Seahawk, I'm going to my family and saying we're moving to Seattle. I need to be around where he is. And speaking of needs, as much as I love the Sun Devils, as much as I love this jersey, okay, we're past this now. This is an old artifact. To the beautiful New York Giants, as you start season 101, and we're all very optimistic about everything you have going, I would like a Giants jersey of Cam Scatterboo. I would like a home blue Scatterboo jersey. You could probably bike messenger it from the facility to right where I'm sitting, or I'll come get it myself. But I want to wear it. I want to represent it. I'm a day one ground floor Cam Scatterboo Giants fan, and I would like to be able to show that off with this jersey.
Kyle, have you ever personally invited anybody over to your home that is currently playing in the NFL, and are you going to do that with Cam Scatterboo?
I have never done that. Listen, I worked with Schrager for 9 years. He's never been to my house. So once I go home, I don't want to interact with anyone. But Cam Scatterboo, if you want to come over, and I'll get a sled and we'll push it around in the backyard or something with some weights on it. Whatever you want to do. You want to play Mario Kart with my son? Cam, let's come hang.
Hey,
awesome.
KB, I need you to make me a promise. When Scatterboo wins, when he wins the scepter this year, at some point in time, I need a picture of you and him with the Bane jacket on, okay, that he had at the draft. With the
I know the jacket.
I need a side-by-side picture of both of you guys wearing the Bane jacket for his picture.
I love the jersey, and that will be the first one ever. I've never done this in all the years of Angry Runs. I'll get the jacket. It's Bane-esque with the furry collar, but I will go to the Giants facility and hand him the scepter in person. I've never done that ever. I've never had the ability to do it. Frankly, not a lot of Giants and Jets win scepters, but when they do this year, I'm going to go down to Jersey and I'll give it to him.
All right.
Let's look at the Cowboys and the Steelers. Truthfully, we spent the first 60 minutes on this show talking about the Cowboys and what this means for them to add a George Pickens. But there is an interesting side to this and what this means for the Pittsburgh Steelers and how they navigate their offense, their season, and Mike Tomlin at the helm of all of this moving forward. Isaiah, which side of this trade do you find more interesting in this moment? as the man that works for the Cowboys pre and post game, who was drafted by the Cowboys. Which side is more interesting to you, the Cowboys or the Steelers?
I have to say the Cowboys. And the reason why I have to say the Cowboys is because they have been missing this link for some time now. CeeDee Lamb has not had a true number 2 receiver or a 1B receiver for some time. They brought in Brandon Cooks to be that, but he was underutilized. The last time that CeeDee Lamb had this was obviously when Amari Cooper and him were playing together. So that's the last time that they had a solid tandem. So this is exciting for them. You're giving George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb to one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Nobody has questioned Dak Prescott's ability to produce when healthy. The problem is, can they keep him healthy? And they've done so by ensuring that he has protection up front. So now that you have protection up front, and now that you have these 2 receivers on the outside, they are going to ball out. And everybody's going to continue to bring up the fact that George Pickens has been a problem, right? We just heard Rafshe talk about it right there. He's been a problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what problem has he had? He's passionate, right? He has a little bit of a temper from time to time, and that kind of overflows. Well, I would be that way too if your quarterback over the past years has been Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky, Russell Wilson, and Justin Fields getting week by week getting substituted out. So yeah, there's going to be some frustration there. Now he goes to an organization that has one solid quarterback that is the highest paid in the league and has getting paid to do exactly what he does, and that is be a healthy quarterback who can go out there, produce, and throw the ball to his receivers and let them get their yards after catch.
Yeah, it's interesting because that energy that you just described, Pickens leaving, is still there. So which one's more interesting? I can't say the Cowboys because it's like, that makes sense. I'm glad that the Cowboys finally made a decision. This is interesting, the situation with the Steelers, because when I look at best case scenario for both teams right now, I'm not looking at the Steelers thinking, oh, they're going to be great. Cowboys, I feel that way. And I just feel like they're kind of sitting around waiting. They have a lot of pieces to feel like who is really going to be their quarterback? Who's going to be the guy that takes them to the next level? How are they going to fill in some of these spots at the skill position? Obviously, you have DK Metcalf, but you don't want to just not have a great quarterback situation and just have DK Metcalf. I feel like they need to fill some spots. And then just generally, like I said, it's not like this roster is just jumping out at you. Now, obviously, it's the NFL. Everybody's great. But I think there's levels to it. So I think it's just interesting thinking about what they're going to do in the coming months and then obviously when the season starts.
Yeah, listen, I think this is far more dynamic and fun for the Cowboys. But the word at the bottom of the screen says interesting. I think it's way more interesting for the Pittsburgh Steelers because leads us to the question of where are you headed? What is the plan? Where are we going to end up week 1 in September? Because you guys know how I feel about this. Wherever you're headed, I'm in. I'm always in on the Steelers. I will never abandon them. They don't do filler seasons. They don't do 6-11 seasons. They will find a way to 10-7 or 9-8. You know it and I know it. I don't care who they get rid of. And yet, I still don't know what the hell the plan is. If the plan is for Rodgers, then you just severed a huge piece of talent with which to carry a 41-year-old quarterback who's going to need it. If the plan's not for Rodgers and it's some, holy crap, we're actually going with Mason Rudolph thing, which I know there are some Steelers fans who say, screw it, let's do it, then you need as much talent to carry him. So I don't know what the plan is with quarterbacks still, just like you do. And just when we think couldn't get weirder that the Steelers don't have a quarterback, they get rid of one of their best receivers. However, I said I'm in. I'm still in. And I'm in because I respect their conviction in saying, we don't want a future with this player. And we've been around the block a few times. Anyone who is confused or chagrined that they let go of George Pickens, I would ask you the question, during the Mike Tomlin era, can you think of a couple of guys, especially at wide receiver, that they have let go or moved on from who have gone on to do tremendous things in their next stop? I can't. I can think of the other guys. I can think of Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and certainly Antonio Brown, who eventually, with all those cases, the Steelers said, I think that's enough. They move on, and it's not like they make the Steelers look terrible for moving on with them about how could you let go of this player. The Steelers have a good sense of who that player is and are they a future Steeler. They're showing their hand right now that a guy that they drafted and were in position to pay this year if they wanted to, no, we are out. So since we're out, what the hell? Let's hook somebody who doesn't know this guy like we do, and let's get some value. Let's get some draft picks. Let's do all of that. Now, don't tell me that they're planning for the future. There is no future with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's always about the now. So this is not a filler season in 2025 that they're going to have draft picks next year, blah, blah, blah. They got to get those 9 or 10 wins this year, as they will. I'm curious as to how they're going to do it, but I want it very clear. When the playoff picking time comes out in September, I will pick the Steelers. I don't care if George Pickens isn't on the team anymore. They'll figure it out. Just right now, on May 7th, I have no idea how.
I have a question just for everybody, because, Kyle, you mentioned the Aaron Rodgers of it all. This situation with Aaron Rodgers, one, feels like it never ends. But two, it's really fascinating because I would think, based on everything that he said, I'll play for $12 million, whatever. I feel like if the Steelers really wanted him, he would be there. So I'm just wondering, like, is there two sides of this story where maybe the Steelers aren't convinced that Aaron Rodgers is the guy?
Or that they don't need him.
Yeah, that they're just like, you know what, maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't really that important to us.
That's a totally valid question for every other player in the league at every position, and then there's him. He's an alien in that sense. He's different, and the last and only thing we've heard from him is, paraphrasing, personal life, inner circle, things going on in between that football mind of his, in which he basically was saying, how I read it, this ain't going to happen for a while. I need some time. I got to take care of some stuff. So we all thought this would happen before the draft. And Rodgers' chorus at the end of every season is usually, I'm not going to make people wait. I'm going to make this decision quickly. He's not doing any of that now. So I just come back to this. Like, the Pickens thing is a huge part of Rodgers joining the Steelers. It's a massive piece. So did he know? Did he know when he met with the Steelers that they're like, just FYI, George is not going to be part of the team. We want to make sure you know that. Or is he hearing it now and being like, what? I'm going to join it without one of the two best receivers? I just don't know. And that's why Rodgers is an exception to every other player in the league. It's very possible the Steelers still want him, and he wants them, and he's just taking care of his personal stuff, and we're going to find out in 20 minutes or 2 weeks that he's a Steeler.
Mm-hmm. Listen, Mike Tomlin is an excellent CEO-type head coach. He is a defensive-minded guy, though, and Arthur Smith was there to run that offense and to establish something that the Steelers can move forward with in years to come. Now, he understands, Arthur Smith does, what George Pickens is about, what he can and cannot do. Brian Schottenheimer is new to the table as a head coach in Dallas. He is establishing and installing an offense that is his own, that is his identity. Knowing what we know, if at all, about Brian Schottenheimer, how do we feel that Schotty is going to handle, manage, assess, and produce a room that has CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens? Knowing his personality, Isaiah, I want to inspect all the stuff that we see about Pickens on the field and how Schotty's going to deal with this.
Yeah, to be honest with you, some of the same behavior that you see from George Pickens, you honestly, at least in Dallas country, we saw some of that with CeeDee Lamb early in his career. And I'm not saying grabbing face masks and those things, but in terms of the pouting and being disappointing and having bad body language and not being a leader in that sense, we saw those things. And I was very critical of CeeDee Lamb over his first couple years up in Dallas over those things. And the last year and a half, 2 years, we've seen CeeDee Lamb literally mature in front of our eyes in Dallas Cowboys country. He stepped into that role of leadership. He started carrying himself better. There was a scene in one of the games where he literally was throwing his helmet and things like that, and it looked so bad, and the media got after him so bad in the city of Dallas that I think that was a wake-up call for him. And then he started stepping up in terms of his blocking because everybody said that he didn't want to block. And he started taking more of a leadership role in the receiver room with some of the younger guys. And all of a sudden, now we start to see him flourish into this not only just a productive receiver, but a leader in the organization of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think bringing a George Pickens into a situation in that receiver room with somebody who has had to grow up himself is a perfect situation for somebody who is of that caliber, has that talent. Now he can be with CeeDee Lamb. He's not talking to some old man who's just barely about to go out the league. He's talking to somebody who's in their prime right now, who can literally take him by the wings and say, we got you. Right? We have you. I've been there. I know what you're feeling. This is how you go about your business. This is how we're going to work out of this. And we're going to be two of the most dangerous tandems in this league going forward for some years to come.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a battle of ball distribution and winning. If they have even ball distribution between these two wonderful receivers and they're winning games, you're going to have a happy team. There's no perfect answer for this, though. I mean, we've played on these teams. I've played on bad teams, and the receivers are the first to go. That's just how it goes. So they need to win games, and then obviously Dak Prescott's got to play phenomenal and make sure that both of these guys are happy.
I know, and we're not going to see how this shakes out until the fall, but My bottom line on this is I think this is a really good day for the Cowboys because there's activity, there's a dynamic injection of energy and talent that they badly needed, and they have a keeping up with the Joneses in their division. That, to me, is solid. I won't shake off that. The fact that the Steelers now lost one of their most talented players and still don't have clarity on their quarterback that we know about, I just don't know where to land with the Steelers, and that's the one we really need to see what time tells about it.
Kyle, you're such a good teammate. Sometimes you just do the work for everybody else. I'm going to steal your question from the top of the show.
Okay.
Who is going to win a playoff game first in this upcoming season? Isaiah, is it the Dallas Cowboys or is it the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes, Dallas Cowboys. And I know Mike Tomlin, his history, right? Mike Tomlin always gets to the playoffs. He always, puts his team in a position to be competitive. But the Dallas Cowboys, prior to Dak Prescott tearing his hamstring off his butt cheek, was going to the playoffs every single year, 12-5 for 3 consecutive years. So these guys were doing that, and CeeDee Lamb did not have a true 1B receiver out there. So these guys are going to be in a position, and I know we're talking about the offense right now because of this trade just happened, but this defense, I truly believe this is going to be a top 5 defense in the league. And when you have a top 5 defense and you have an offense that has the ability to run the ball with a solid O-line and these receivers on the outside, they're going to be in the playoffs, and I think they're going to win games.
It's not every day that you can just sit around and show the Cowboys this much love. So I'm going to just marinate in it. I'm going to feel it because I'm with you guys. I think this is easy. If both teams are firing all cylinders, Isaiah, you just so beautifully described it, offense, defense. This roster is great. If they're firing all cylinders and the Steelers right now are firing all cylinders, this is a no-brainer. The Cowboys are going to be the first team to really do something. So, again, let's just take a moment of silence and just appreciate this team and what they've done.
I like the moment of silence. It's like something, some kind of era has passed, and we're mourning it, but we're celebrating it. The Steelers always get to the playoffs, but they really never win a playoff game. So occasionally the Cowboys win a wild card game. So I'll go with Dallas too. If they get there, I think they're more likely to win it. And this is we have a consensus. Unless Jamie, you want to zag hard and take Pittsburgh.
I didn't think I was going to have to answer the question.
Oh, yes.
Welcome to our world.
I think it is going to be Pittsburgh. I will zag.
Really?
I will zag.
All right, there you go.
I will zag. You got a reigning Super
You'll
Bowl
probably be
champion
right.
in your division, and you got an up-and-coming quarterback in the Commanders that is trying to define himself. And don't sleep on the Giants either in the moves that they just did. So what are you looking at me for? Maybe the division is going to be down, but the Cowboys have to pluck some teams off.
Isaiah, this whole Cowboys thing's going to explode. It's going to be a disaster. What do you think about that?
Not even a little bit.
Pickens this morning, and the fact that he's wearing a star on his helmet come the 2025 season. Isaiah, stand back. You were drafted by the Cowboys. You live in Dallas. You work for the Cowboys on their TV production. You have been giddy since the last I saw you 10 minutes. So what is going on with the Dallas Cowboys and this move that they make to bring Pickens there?
I just get my Mr. Burns fingers out. Mr. Burns. Listen, Dallas Cowboys have been working on something over the last few months. I mean, we obviously know they didn't pull any triggers on receivers in this year's draft, and they don't have what we consider to be in the NFL a true number 2 receiver. They have Jalen Tolbert that they picked up in the draft some years ago. He had more touchdowns than CeeDee Lamb last year, but he hasn't been the guy that you can necessarily rest your hat on as a true number 2. He's more of a 3. So the Dallas Cowboys had a hole to fill. And how did they fill that hole? Well, we just found out today, going out and grabbing one of the league's best deep ball threats, one of the best contested catch receivers in the league. This dude is tenacious. He has a little grittiness to him, right? He has a little fight, and he goes out there and gets the ball at the high point. We saw what difference he made with the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially when Russell Wilson took over command. Immediately, they were able to throw the ball down the field. Now, when you take his abilities and you pair him up with a CeeDee Lamb, who is arguably the best receiver in the league, you can talk about Justin Jefferson and a handful of other guys, Jamar Chase, but CeeDee Lamb is in that conversation with the top 3 receivers in the league. Now, all of a sudden, you have a true 1 and a 2 tandem. They didn't go out and get a number 2 receiver. They got a true number 1 receiver to play number 2 as a receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. And now you're seeing on your screen, this is what Dak Prescott has to work with. He has a CeeDee Lamb on the one side. He has a George Pickens on the other side. And he has a Jake Ferguson. Now, people are going to look at Jake Ferguson and say, well, who is that? Well, Jake Ferguson was one of the best tight ends in the league when healthy 2 seasons ago. He had an injury plagued season last year, but he is going to be back. He is going to be healthy. So you have some goons on the outside, you have a goon to work the middle of the field, and you have a doggone the Great Wall of China sitting there at the offensive line position because you have 3 first-round picks on the O-line. Dak is going to be protected. They are going to run the ball. You're not going to be able to load the box for 7 and 8 guys because you have to worry about these 2 guys on the outside.
Listen, I'm supposed to push back and be a Cowboys curmudgeon, and I'm not. I will ask, how about them Cowboys? I'm impressed. Dare I say I'm surprised. I've been screaming and begging for them to just wake up and make a bold move. You know that meme where there's like a stick figure and he's got a little stick and he's just poking something? He's like, come on, do something. That's been us poking the Cowboys logo as Howie Roseman rules the world and the Commanders have next and the Giants are reloading. Cowboys underwhelming head coach hire, free agency, draft. And now this is a lightning bolt. And I have no pushback. They needed talent at wide receiver. They got talent at wide receiver. And I think this is incredible because if you look at CD and Pickens, it's like who did they get CD to be his number 2? They got CD. They got himself. Look at the measurables. I know there's a lot more complicated nuance in these players.
Wow.
6'2", 6'3", 200, 200, 450, 447. Literally the exact same vertical jump and pretty much exactly the same arm length. Physically, it is carbon copies. It's Pam saying they're the same picture. These guys are on either side of Dak, maybe the same side. They are out there physically imposing, making a threat to the Eagles, to the Commanders. They have a number 2 receiver, and more importantly, they have a pulse. They're doing something. I've been screaming at the Jones family, guys, engage here. Get in the fight. Don't just run the same nonsense back. They didn't. I've called them the most boring team in the NFC East. They just acquired maybe the least boring player in the league for all of his faults, and we'll get into them because I don't think this is necessarily a doomsday horrible thing for the Steelers, but it is a sign of life for the Cowboys. It was going beep, and then it was beep, 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 and now the needles are jumping. I'm impressed. I'm a little excited, and they are far more interesting and far more dynamic. George Pickens is not always a parade and a picnic, guys, and there will be a lot of attention on him, but he's incredibly talented. They need it. They got it. And the fact that they did something makes me give high five to the Jones family. Thank you.
And the last number to add to that side-by-side is the fact that CD is just 26 and George Pickens is 24. So, I mean, buckle up with those two. I mean, that was an incredible comparison for that.
I
know.
It's actually kind of mind-blowing
Yes.
that they're that similar. But at the end of the day, this is good for football. I mean, I feel like the entire NFL loves when the Cowboys are rolling on all cylinders, and the fact that they made this decision, everybody loves it. And, Kyle, you just hit the nail on the head. The issue with the Cowboys every year is what are they going to do? What are we doing? Like, make this decision to really take them to the next level, and this is it. Also, I love it for this 2 number ones picture. Like, you're seeing teams all over the league start to make these moves to have 2 number 1 receivers, which I think might become the new norm. And Isaiah, you said it. You described Pickens as like a number 2. I see this as a 1-and-1 situation. And they're going to have to figure out how to make that work. The flip side of that is when you have 2 number 1s with number 1 personalities and you have 2 receivers that naturally have big personalities anyways, could become a little complicated. So I'm curious to see how that works out.
I think that's exactly what I was going to go back to Kyle with, Isaac, to your point, is that you may have 2 number 1s from a talent perspective, but Kyle, is George Pickens prepared to constantly be, there is no other way, a number 2 wide receiver to CeeDee Lamb? This is his future. This is what he has now maybe not signed up for because this trade was done between 2 organizations. But Kyle, we talk about Pickens all the time. Before the whistle, after the whistle, the conversations on the sideline, the meme. If you're going to bring up a meme, bring up the George Pickens meme of him being drafted and staring at the TV. There's a lot there. Is George Pickens prepared to be a true number 2?
Well, listen, I think he would have been if he stayed in Pittsburgh behind DK, and he would have had a lesser quarterback going to him. George Pickens is about to have an excellent quarterback. Like that to me is the end of the conversation. Dak Prescott will get him the ball. He'll be open a lot because of CD. I don't think with Pickens it's an issue of I'm the number 1. I think it's often an issue of I want the ball. He's going to get the ball. Like this is a very, very comfortable situation. We can go way back in the history of Dallas Cowboys quote-unquote number 2 receivers, the Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin, all of those guys. George Pickens is it feels like a Cowboy. It feels like a fit. Of course he's mercurial. And listen, I put up that side-by-side of the two of them and CD, and I said, look, they're the same player. And a very common response on Twitter is, yeah, physically, except one of those two players is insane. All right, I get it. Pickens is a little different. I'm not calling him insane, but there is this. I mean, we can't just say, he'll just slide in there and he'll get his 85 catches and he'll high-five CD every time he gets the ball. I think that George Pickens is in the best quarterback situation of his career, maybe the best offensive situation of his career, in a true passing game. The Cowboys aren't going to do that great running the ball. They're chucking this thing. So all this stuff, I think it's like if you were looking to give him a cookie, I think he got a cookie. And by the way, I think this is all of the reasons the Pittsburgh Steelers did not want to give him the biggest cookie of all, which is a contract extension.
Every team needs a Draymond Green. Okay, every team needs a Ron Artest. I don't care who you are. We see it all the time. I was in a lot of wide receiver rooms, and every single wide receiver room we had somebody who was the enforcer. The Dallas Cowboys want to run the ball. You have to have a physical, greedy, aggressive receiver to go out there and put hands on people. And understand this. With the philosophy of running the ball, we all know Schottenheimer's, the family tree history in terms of their ability to run the zone. If you try to line up one person, just a cornerback, over either one of these guys, you are going to run into a problem. Both of these receivers, like we talked about, 1A, 1B, I don't care how you want to number it, they require a safety over the top. If you don't put a safety over the top of either one of these guys, you are going to pay for it. So if you have a safety over the top of Pickens, you have a safety over the top of CeeDee Lamb, that means that you have a 6 or 7-man box. You can run the ball. And if you're Dallas Cowboys, you're running back by committee. If you have any kind of efficient running game and you want to bring one guy into the box, now all of a sudden one of those guys is ISO'd. That is a complete problem for anybody. I don't care what division you play for.
Isaiah, I like hearing you talk about the Cowboys. Like, you really get into this. It's like you're a true ambassador. Kyle, I'm kind of curious on this because you just talked about this. Mm-hmm. You talked about that maybe like the personality that's coming out with Pickens, and you talked about the Draymond Green. How long do you think the Cowboys actually have where they need to win? Like, how small is this window of time where they need to win early, get these guys excited, get the energy positive? Because that's my only concern with this. Like, these players are phenomenal. We know that. But it's just like, dang, okay, what's that schedule release look like? Because in the first 4, 5, 6 games, if they're not firing on all cylinders, I think you might have a complicated situation.
Yeah, Mike Jamie knows this. My question always with the Cowboys every single year is, how is this year different? It's the same team, it's the same product, it's the same quarterback, it's the same coach. Well, it's not the same coach. And this is a very dynamic change to the offense. And maybe it'll blow up in their face. Maybe it'll go terribly. But I'm choosing to think positive right now that for the question, why is this team different? This team's a lot different with that player. That player, for all his faults and talents, is going to change things, I think, for the positive. But in terms of starting the season and wins, like, they have to beat Philadelphia. They have to compete with Philadelphia. They can't just sit back and be like, I guess this is the Eagles dynasty era because Roseman is a better GM than us and they have better players. That's nonsense. The Cowboys aren't supposed to do filler seasons. They're not supposed to be happy with this and that. They're supposed to win. So this is a move that says, like, no, we're fighting back. I'm almost inspired by them because I had let them go, and I just thought it was like, all right, Commanders, Eagles, and we'll see what from the Giants. The Cowboys made a chess move here, and I'm impressed. I'm almost proud of the Cowboys. Yeah. I'm fired up. This place up right now. We have not just your average football guest. We got an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, creator of VFriends, which we're going to talk about, a guy who I consider a mogul and also just a really good dude. It's Gary Vaynerchuck. What's up, Gary?
What's up, Gary?
How are you doing?
Quite well.
Yes.
What's up, everybody?
I know you're doing well because the Knicks are winning. The Jets are in off-season mode. It's new, it's fresh, and exciting. For anybody who doesn't know Gary V, big Jets guy. Give us your own personal Gary V state of the nation for the Jets. How do you feel?
I feel this is how big of a Jets fan I am. Literally, this is one of the biggest launches of my career. I'm building the next Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm more excited about a week from today because the schedule comes out, and I'm so ready to figure out who
This is not as big as the Jets schedule, and we're going to talk all about this, and I'm going to unbox it. But which week do they play the Dolphins?
Or is Rodgers going to sign with the Steelers?
Right.
Because they played the Steelers this year,
Yes.
and when's that matchup going to be? But let me break down the Jets for you, since this is the premier football morning show.
That's right.
We took the best bet at quarterback because it's the only lottery ticket that was out there. So I'm thrilled about that.
Good.
We've now taken a first-round tackle in back-to-back years. Olu, before the injury last year, looked great. Obviously, the media, y'all, are not going to be paying attention as much because we're not supposed to do much and we don't have the Aaron factor. And we still have, people forget Jermaine Johnson was out for the year predominantly last year, got hurt early. Wow. Great player. McDonald flashed and had a great year last year. Michael Carter in the secondary, Sauce, Garrett, Brees. Our offensive line is the best it's been since the Mangold, DeBrickashaw, era.
What about the head coach?
I mean, I love Aaron Glenn. I'm a diehard Jets fan. I've watched every snap of his career. Plus, as you know, with Vayner Sports, we rep Aiden Hutchinson. Jalen Reeves made him. We have a good read on the Lions, so I have a very good read on who Aaron is as a man, how he's respected as a coach. I'm excited about it.
Okay, Jamie, I've talked to Gary about the Jets before. He doesn't say this every time. This is authentic. No. He genuinely is excited now. Where else do you want to go with this guy? Can talk about anything.
Well, so if you have the Gary V experience, you're like, who is this guy? What's he about? You obviously know the story. Is this kid comes to the U.S. from Belarus? And how does one become a Jets fan? Because I'm not sure what the NFL marketing plan is for Belarus at this point, but I don't think at the time that you came to the U.S. was it assigned to the New York Jets. So how did you come to fall in love with the green?
Edison, New Jersey. I moved there. I'm barely speaking English at this point. I'm 6 years old. For everybody who's watching, the 80s was a great era. The way you didn't look at your phone or be in the house, you went outside. I literally went outside in late August before the school year started. Look at that, the starter jacket.
Oh, that jacket.
I went outside. There were some boys throwing a Nerf football. They're like, "You like football?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Who do you like?" I'm like, "Eh." They said, "You're a Jets fan like us." That is literally how it happened. That was the 82 season. For all the nerds watching, the Jets went to the AFC Championship game that year. A.J. Dewey broke my heart. It was the first time I cried at a football game. And I'm like, this is good. I was one game away from the Super Bowl. I like this. Meanwhile, it took a long time to get back into 98, 16 years later. So it's been a love affair, but it's been painful.
We're going to get back to the Jets, but you mentioned you had me going on the 80s and you play outside and you do that. After you were done playing outside, a lot of times in the 80s, you'd come back in and you'd go through your cards. And you collect your cards and your binders. And Gary, I am looking at the V-Friends collaboration with Topps, Topps that we grew up collecting. Can you please tell us all about this? And we're going to do an unboxing here on GMFB because I want to get into this sucker.
Look, I'm trying to build the next Pokemon, the next Marvel, the next Disney, Garbage Pail Kids, who we were talking about before a minute, right? I have big goals. I want to buy the New York Jets. You're not going to do that if you don't build iconic big things.
Authentically, you want to do that?
Authentically, I want to buy the New York Jets.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so, V-Friends is a big part of my world. I've got a lot of different businesses, but this is a huge swing for me. Do you know that Pokemon's worth $100 billion?
$100 billion.
So you're talking about intellectual property, especially in the AI revolution that's coming. IP is one of the things that is going to be the big winner. So for the last 4 years, I've been building this. This is a huge moment for us with V-Friends. Today's the day Topps Chrome comes out. But for the people that are watching at home, it's also a brand that is Pokemon on the facade, but underneath it's Sesame Street. There's a lot of good for parents in this. When they open up packs, I got an email last night where the kid pulled the Ambitious Angel, and she asked her, Dad, what's ambition mean? And he got to spend 5 minutes talking to his 7-year-old daughter about ambition because of Ambitious Angel. And he sent me a thank you because I think a lot of us can relate with this. Parenting is hard. And I think V-Friends, if it can contribute a little bit to positivity, but accountability too. There's no over-coddling in V-Friends. Competitive Clown's a monster. Accountable Ant's a monster. Tenacious Termite's a monster. These are big characters. Entrepreneur Elf. So a whole universe of 250-plus characters now in collectible trading card form. And for all the collectors out there, if you go to eBay right now and type in V-Friends and go to completed sold auctions, you'll be stunned what's going on.
You'll be stunned. And he doesn't throw that word around. Here's what's going to happen right now, Gary. I'm going to hope that the ambitious angel for the Jets is Aaron Glenn. And as I unbox and open and see who I get, I just want you to tell me, how do you feel about the playoff drought and when the hell is this going to end while I unbox? Go ahead, preach.
All right, look, what are we in year 14 of this drought? It hurts. We're sad. We've watched the Browns make the playoffs a bunch. We've watched the Lions become a dominant franchise. We've got a lot of teams.
Freaking Lions are doing it, Gary.
Everyone's doing it but us. It feels like every single North American team in all four major sports has tasted the playoffs but us in the last 14 years. But honestly, we're Jet fans. Do you understand how great it is to be a Jets fan? Do you know that there's Chief fans and Patriot fans out there who have never faced adversity?
Yeah, spoiled.
Spoiled.
Trust fund kids.
That's right.
Yes.
Like literally trust fund, literally entitled, spoiled brats who think they've accomplished something because they were randomly born in Kansas City.
And those people being born in Kansas City, they may have had some football wins, but they've never had the pleasure of getting charismatic chameleon or mindful. What is a Minakawa? I don't even know what
Minakawa is a very cool bird.
Okay.
A very cool bird that a lot of people, I mean, this is going to capture a lot of people's attention. A very cool mythical bird from Japan. What about the tremendous tiger?
Tremendous tiger is here.
Bengal fans.
I have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, an 8-year-old. Like, they would love these. I would love these. I feel like I'm unpacking a garbage pail kid, but a little cleaner and a little more educational and a little classier.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a selfish and selfless adventure for me. Selfishly, I think this could be the business that helps me buy the Jets. Selflessly, I'd like to leave like the Gary Vee brand on social to those 50 million followers. I want to do the same thing for 5 to 15. I want them to start knowing that nice guys finish first, not last.
It's incredible. I always love talking to you. And this guy is dead serious. He wants to buy the Jets. And when he does,
I'm going to win a Super Bowl. Just so everybody knows why I want to buy the Jets.
You want to win a Super Bowl?
I just want to be in control of my destiny.
Yes.
I want to win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
I need a Super Bowl. I've got to have a Super Bowl.
You're that man, Jets fans. Remember, when it happens, Whimsical Wolf was part of it. That's Whimsical Wolf. I'm putting it in my wallet, but I want to keep it in mint condition. Gary, you're the man. I'm so impressed. It's always great stuff. Everybody get the call.
Isaac, I love you.
Yes, he loves Isaac. We love Jamie. We love Isaiah. And we also love everybody who is coming in this collaboration. It's incredible. Even Dynamic Dinosaur. This is so fun. I want to open all these. In so many massive games, Julian Edelman is going into the Patriots Hall of Fame. And there's a lot of very good players. Then there's a certain group of special players. There's always something special about Julian Edelman, and part of what was special about him was his versatility. So as we present to you 5 moments in Julian Edelman's career, we curated these according to how we respect his versatility and how different of a player he could be from play to play. It was a really, really cool thing going back to his roots in college as a quarterback and then becoming the go-to guy for Tom Brady. So here we go. We're going to do 5 to 1. And number 5 is exactly what I'm talking about. Of all the plays Julian Edelman made, and he caught over 600 balls in the league, a defensive play, a tackle on offense, he could do everything. Here is number 5. We go to 2011, Patriots versus Eagles. You'll remember the Eagles quarterback, and you'll see if you remember this play from Julian Edelman. Here's number 5.
On 2nd and 8. Young with lots of time. On the move. Inside the 5 to about the 3.
And Julian Edelman, how about that? Now you'd think, wait a minute, no way can Vince Young, a really effective scrambler and an open field runner, he can't be tackled by a wide receiver, can he? Pretty nicely done.
We love how Julian Edelman literally does it all. It's actually so incredible. But at number 4, we have a Julian Edelman touchdown, but not your typical receiving touchdown from the wide receiver. Week 17, 2010 against the Dolphins. Edelman is a punt returner and takes this one to the house. Let's watch it.
Edelman back deep. Retreats from the 6. Watches one man. Still on his feet. He's loose. Julian Edelman. Will they catch him? No. Touchdown. New England. 94 yards. You give Julian Edelman extra opportunities. He just separates great blocks down the field. And now no one's going to catch Julian Edelman. He got that Tom Brady haircut thing going, doesn't he? Go. It's not a bad guy to emulate.
Ooh, that boy was nasty. I was there for that one. And at number 3, you guys remember this play for sure. In 2014, the AFC divisional game against the Baltimore Ravens, Tom Brady passes the ball to Julian Edelman, which then turns around and throws the ball downfield to Danny Amendola. Let's check it out.
Edelman in motion. Edelman takes the swing pass. Edelman's going to throw. Deep downfield, wide open. Amendola, touchdown. 51 yards.
There it is. The old Kent State quarterback. They have been keeping that one under wraps for a long time. That is Julian Edelman's first career attempt and one he will not forget.
Never flapped under pressure. Collinsworth stuck the landing on that one. They had been holding it. 2014 AFC title game for him to have his first passing touchdown. Casual. All your games before a Super Bowl, those are cute. At number 2, it's Super Bowl 49. Y'all remember this one. It's Patriots-Seahawks. It was a tie game at the half. It was neck and neck down the stretch, and everyone hyper-fixates on what the Seahawks should or should not have done on the final goal line play for them. However, what gave the Patriots the lead just before the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter of Super Bowl 49 was a Julian Edelman moment.
Brady caught, touchdown, Julian Edelman.
Came back to it, Al. It came right back to it. Worked brilliantly before. Brady missed the pass. Come right back to it, and Edelman gets it done.
And then, of course, we get to the granddaddy of them all, the play that will be showed for the rest of Julian's life and his kids' lives and everything for decades and decades. Super Bowl 51, 28-3 comeback. It's in the midst of happening, kind of in slow motion. We can't believe what we're seeing. And then Julian Edelman makes a play centimeters off the turf and starts screaming, I caught it. And sure enough, he caught it. The most memorable play of Julian Edelman's career, really anybody's career. Roll it.
Here's Edelman broken up, and the pass is no sign yet. Edelman comes down with a football, and they're saying it's a catch. Oh, that's a catch. My God. That's incredible. That's amazing concentration by Julian Edelman.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The receiver's hand is under the ball. The ball never hits the ground.
Incredible.
It was incredible. It was one of those that, and when you finally saw the replay, all of us at home were saying with Joe and Troy were, incredible, wow, he did it. And then they go on to finish. And he went on to finish an incredible career. Again, I keep saying that word, and that's him. 232nd pick in the 7th round out of Kent State via San Mateo. This dude from Central Cali who stands about 5'10" and became one of the signature pieces of the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick dynasty. It's why we love the NFL. It's dreams come true. It's amazing. And Julian Edelman, it's great to have you honored like this. Guys in L.A., what do you think?
Yeah, I can tell you guys from this experience, I got to New England. I got cut by the Dallas Cowboys in the after 2008 season. So my first year going to New England was in 2009, which was Julian Edelman's rookie season. So he had just got drafted. I show up in the quarterback room and I'm in the receiver room. And I can tell you that I am beyond proud of what Julian was able to do with his career because I know what he went through as a rookie. He put the work in. He showed up. He was in the meeting rooms. He got scolded all the time by the coaches. He did the hard stuff and put in the work that nobody saw, but you saw the production of it on the field. So congratulations to Jules, man. You put the work in, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I love a football player, right? Like, he checks a lot of football player boxes where you could really throw this guy anywhere, and it's super rare to see it done in the NFL. Travis Hunter might be the next one to do it like he did it. But what I love about watching all these plays is I was a kid when I was watching these, right? This is my middle, high school, and even college years. So it brings back so many good memories. And even this Super Bowl, this #1 play, like, even listening to the sounds and just watching it, Jamie, you were like, you're just looking for the ball to touch the ground. It never does. It just does something to you. And that's why I just love it for football.
Yeah. The brilliance of Bill Belichick to go out and take this young man out of Kent State in a late round and turn him into what is, you said Travis Hunter, that's a #2 overall pick. No one would have thought that this is what this guy could have done in college with what he came from. But it's a testament to who Brady was, who Belichick was, and to Isaiah's point, the work that Edelman put in to become that. It recreated, I think, the creativity that you can have with just a straight-up athlete, Kyle. Jules, congratulations.
No doubt. And it goes back. Listen, you made the team as a 7th-round pick because you returned a punt for a touchdown in a preseason game. And Belichick said, I got to have that guy. It was a classic moment. And here we are all these years later going to the Patriots Hall of Fame. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He's a Super Bowl MVP. And it's an incredible career. It's great to look back on it.